Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be finally doing the 2025 wrap up. Yes, it is finally January, the year has gone, and we're going to be looking at all of the books I read this year, all of the stats, all of the good juicy things. I thought about doing a full-on wrap up as usual where I would go over every single one of the books, but I read about 125 books this year. That would be boring as hell for me to make and probably for you to watch. So instead, I'm going to go over all of the statistics that my little book tracking app keeps, and we're going to see how the year looked and what was it like and how many stars I gave and what were the star ratings I gave most and how many books I read in 1 month or whatever. All of those cool juicy statistics that I honestly find a lot more interesting than going over every single one of the books. If you want to see what I read during the year, you can see it from about maybe July, I think, upwards until the end of the year here on the channel, so you can do that with the monthly wrap-ups. I did not do one for December. Oops, so sorry. Okay, but before we go into the video, I want to ask you guys to please consider subscribing and following and also checking me out on other social media like TikTok, where I'm most active, to be fair, but also Instagram, I'm also there. And I would love to know how your guys' year went reading-wise, and just in general, I guess. How many books you read this year, what was your favorites, what are some nice juicy recommendations, especially when it comes to sci-fi and high fantasy. I would love to see that, or also murder mystery, but not the generic ones, and something really good and juicy. Love recommendations on those if you guys have as well. Okay, enough dilly-dallying. I have my trusty iPad here with me, and we're going to be going over all of my statistics. The book tracking app I use is Bookmarry. I love it. It's so beautiful. You can just look at all of your book covers really easily. It's very simple. There's no social aspects of it. I just like something very simple where I can just put all the info and just leave it be. You have so many other different tools with this, but I just use it for basically keeping track of all of the books I've ever read, my ratings, some notes here and there, but mostly just as a tracking app for everything I've read. So yeah, for 2025 though, I'm looking at the full year. Okay, it is a year with some highs and some lows. I'm gonna let you know. During this year, we had a total of 2 reading slumps. One in July where I barely read, and another in November. Okay, July one was because I was coming down from the high of traveling solo through Japan, and I came back home and tragedy struck. I had a family member pass away, and I was the one that had to deal with most of it, and it was just a lot, and life wasn't doing great, and having to come back to reality wasn't great, so reading went away as well, wasn't great. And then November was because I moved to Poland, in case you didn't know, and so this is my first ever apartment on my own. Everything was going fine reading wise, but I was reading Eldritch. It was a new release this year, and I was reading it, and I got so slumpy, so stuck on that book, I couldn't read anything else. I couldn't start a new book until I finished that one because I want to know what happened in the story, but I also couldn't finish it, so I got stuck. I don't know what kind of mental blockade I had, but it just happened. Okay, my reading goal for this year was 100 books. I usually always put it at 100. Even for 2026, it's going to be 100, even though I know I'm probably going to cross it. I think 100 books is wild, okay? It's a wild goal to set for anyone at all. So the fact that I can get even remotely close to that is absolutely wild to me. So anything else I can read after that, it's just a blessing, okay? But 100 is usually my goal. I hit, like I said, 125 books, which is an average of 10.4 books a month, which is wild because I had months where I read 17 and then months I read 4. So it's just... yeah, it's literally just an average, mind you. The month I read the most was April, which is not surprising. Okay, I was unemployed. I was mainly reading, and that's when I started my TikTok account as well. So it was just, reading was my one thing that I could do all day, right? I could sit by the pool and read, sit on my living room and read. I would go out and about and read. I was reading all the time, 24/7. Also, escapism is a thing, so it's not very surprising to me. But I will say that April was 17, but also May was 14. Again, right, a lot of books as well. I do think that's important to mention, but also September was 16 books and October 15 books. So I do think these 4 months were my highest months for this year, which is very cool. The lowest month was November, like I said, slump, 4 books in November. Right after it, we have July with 7 books, because by the end of July I did save it, but I also listened to a lot of audiobooks in July. Anywho, the book I read with most pages this year was The Primal of Blood and Bone, which let me tell you, if you want to know my thoughts and my reactions to this book, there's a whole vlog. Please check that out. But even if you don't, right? It's so sad to know that like the book I read with most pages was this book, which was one of my most anticipated reads of the year, one of them. And I was so happy to finally get back into the From Blood and Ash whole series and just world. I love it so much. And then we get this book. What the fuck was that? Okay, what the fuck was that? Oh, the New York part made me lose my fucking mind. I don't think you understand. Even on the vlog that I published, I cut up a lot of ranting because I was so mad. I cut it up a lot, okay? And so I think you can imagine how fucking pissed I was with this. Now, let's go over the different types of books I read this year, right? I used to only read physical books only. I did not have a Kindle or a Kobo or anything like that, and I did not even know of the existence of audiobooks, which is very cool. Fast forward to this year, and I'm like dabbling in a little bit of all of them, right? So that's really cool. So majority of the books I read this year were ebooks, which is not surprising. I've been mostly reading in ebooks because I fear I had a few too many situations where I would buy the actual physical books, not like the series, and then having to find a way to sell them and just losing money in the process because, you know, you buy them a lot more expensive than what you resell them for. So it's just, yeah, so I started to do just ebooks, and then when I like the books, I have like a list of the books I want to buy and which ones are priority, which ones are less of a priority, which ones I can get if I find a sale or not, like, you know, those types of things. I read 107 ebooks this year, which is a lot. I thought I read a lot more physical books than I did, actually. Physical books, I read 13 of them this year, which is, again, it makes sense. I read my physical TBR a couple times this year, plus with the Fairy Loop books, I've also been reading them physically, so really cool. And then audiobook, we have 5, and honestly 3 of them are House of Devil series, and then it's Primal of Blood and Bone, and I don't know what the other one was, but that's basically how it was, okay? Because when I start struggling with the book but I still want to know what happens, I just pop in the audiobook instead. It's just so much better that way, okay? But yeah, so mainly it's ebooks, which makes complete sense. Anyways, I'm going to check the star rating, okay? So on average, I have 3.7 stars. That is my average when it comes to the ratings. To be honest, I think this year I found a lot of 4 and 4.5 star books, but barely any 5-star books, okay? I think I have 5-star books this year, and even sometimes when I look at the 4.5 list, I can't look at it too deeply because I start looking at them and thinking, this one's actually 4 stars, this one's actually a 3.5, like, I start overthinking them. So I try my best not to go down that rabbit hole, but sometimes I do. But when it comes to 5 stars, I didn't find many this year. The ones I did find were absolute bombs, okay? They were so good, so good. The highest was 5 stars, obviously, and the lowest was 0.5. Like, and only because I can't give it 0, honestly. Yeah, and the most used rating was 4 stars. Like I said, I have a lot of 4 stars this year. And like I said, for 5 stars, I have 5 books. 4.5 stars, I have 16 books. And 4 stars, I have 50 books. I found a lot of good series that I know I enjoyed them, or they're typical romances, but they were still good, and I still enjoyed them, and they were good, and I want to read the next book, but it's not, whoa, my God, it's so good, which is a 4.5, and then it's a 5 stars, it's like, oh my God, I would die for this. I wish I could read this book again for the first time, you know? And oh my God, it was perfection. I have no commentary, nothing wrong to say about it, no, nothing. I'm in love with this, right? So this is my 5 stars, okay? This is my 4.5, and this is my 4 stars. Like, look at that. That is insane. And then we have 3.5, we have 20 books. 3 stars, we have 21 books, which is pretty good, okay? And then 2.5, we have 6 books. 2 stars, we have 5 books. 1 star, we have 1 book. And 0.5, we have 1 book. I will be going over a few of these, just because I find that is a lot more interesting than going over every single one of them. First off, I want to start with the 0.5 stars. Okay, that was Rhapsodic, okay, by Laura Thalassa. I don't understand how people like this series, because to me this was grooming 101. Okay, this is a romanticizing grooming, and maybe this is a Tamlin situation on the second book. I don't know. I don't honestly care, because the fact that we have this really old fae king that is aware that this 16-year-old, 17-year-old, right, has Monday through Sunday underwear. This is just icky to me. And when I tell you, I had the ick from like not even halfway through the book, I was getting the biggest ick, but I kept reading because I wanted to see how far it would go. I wish I had vlogged it because honestly, I was so disgusted by it. I just kept going because I was like, I want to see how far this goes, like, because I thought it was disgusting to me until like you get towards the end of the book and you realize that things would have happened between the 17-year-old and the God knows how old Fae King, if it weren't for magical forces preventing him from jumping her bounds. And I can't. It gave me such an ick that I deleted all the books I had in my Kobo from her. All of them. It's just like, no, I can't do it. So for me it was 0.5 because I honestly couldn't give 0. Because honestly to me it's like -10. It's just, it was so disgusting, so nasty, especially because the author was like, oh, but she's technically an adult because adulthood for creatures is actually at 16 and not at 18, like for humans. It's like, girl, that does not make it better. That really does not. That does not make it better whatsoever. Like, that is even more disgusting. The one I gave 1 star, on the other hand, I feel really bad about this because the author actually reached out to me and sent me her arc, and I was so happy. Like, she sent me the e-arc and I was so happy, so excited. I was jumping up and down. I was so excited. I was so happy about it. I even vlogged it and everything. And then I read the book and I just didn't like it. It wasn't horrible, okay? It's not like the other one. It just wasn't good either. It was sold as like this whole, like, if Voldemort had a daughter and she was wreaking havoc and in a Hogwarts type situation, but they're witches and there's 2 different types of witches, but then the magical system is never explained. There's no depth to the characters. There's no other relationships. The entire story happens in the span of a week and it's not that deep. There's a lot of stuff in between that we just get no context for. The characters it's a nice first rough draft, but it needed so much more work on top of it, right? It needed more depth and needed more depth in terms of everything. Anything you can think of in a book, it needed more depth, okay? It's not fleshed out. There is no background. You cannot tell that the world has so much history that you're just not aware of, but there's history and depth. You cannot notice that here, and it's just, I felt really bad when I just didn't like the book. It just was a thing. It was a thing. I had a few other ones that were just like that, or just disappointing, which were my 2 stars. I'm not gonna go too over them because, whatever, but I'll just say that some like relevant mentions are The Silent Patient that people keep telling other people to read. Do not. It's absolute trash. From a murder mystery aspect, from a psychological aspect, it's just absolute trash. I rant about this when I read it. Okay, I think it was like July wrap up or something. And then Death Shall Bow. I don't know how I ended up having this book in my TBR. I don't know. It's supposed to be vampires and underworld and all of that. It was bullshit. It was so shit. Like, I didn't like the writing style. The story itself ended up being cool, and it did have a really nice plot twist, but it was just so shitty written. It's like those really cringy like shows, and you're like, okay, I guess I'm gonna see where this is going. Also, it was like a very tiny book. Like, I read it in like a couple hours, so that was also to its benefit, but otherwise I would have DNF'd it. I wanted to DNF it so bad. Again, this is another one that I actually have a vlog on because I was doing this screen time challenge thing where I was reading as many hours as I spent on screen time. So yeah, trust, it was not great. Otherwise, yeah. Okay, so now let's go over the more important ones, which is the 5 stars. Those are the ones that matter, okay? So first up we have Heavenbreaker. If you want a sci-fi, like a really cool sci-fi, Heavenbreaker is so nice. It's also it's mecha, okay? So imagine if you like mecha animes, this is the sci-fi for you, okay? So they have these big ass robots that they have to go into, and they're in this like juice slush thing to control the mecha, and they feel the pain where the mecha is destroyed and stuff like that. It's so cool. And so this girl has to like fight into this mecha battle so she can get revenge for her dead mom, and it becomes this whole conspiracy theory, and there's this whole other situation in the back, and the relationships between the characters, and then it's like multiple challenges, so multiple battles. So it's kind of like they're all battling together, but then you fight, and then you slowly, like, those like battle trees where you fight these, and then these fight together, and then these fight, that kind of thing. And it's so cool because the thing with having these sort of challenges and fights, especially when it's repetitive stuff, is that each of them, usually they're not very unique, usually they're not very challenging, and you're like, okay, it was too easy, right? This one is not. This one is so cool. Every battle is different. Every battle has its own depth and in like aspect to it. It just kept me on my toes. I was so hooked on this book. It's such a good sci-fi. I was so happy because I don't read sci-fi very often. I want to be better about that, and this one was just so good. I can barely wait to read the next one. I'm telling you, I love this so much. It's chef's kiss. Another really, really good book was Stargazer Salvation. Look, it's an indie book, right? And I found this girl on TikTok, and it's so good. It's a romancy, but it's so good, and it has so much depth, and the characters have so much depth, and the world itself is so cool because they're all like, the people aren't by country but by planet, and it's our solar system, and then each planet in our solar system has a different culture, different community, different aspect, like everything is different powers and stuff like that. And our main character is the princess from like the queen of the entire solar system, and there's like a lot of like backstory, a lot of like backstabbings. It's such a good book, and the thing I liked the most with this book was the writing style. The writing itself, I love this author's writing. I don't know, I just fell in love with the writing from the first page. I was like, oh my god, she writes so well. That's not something I usually notice that much, but in this book I was just like enraptured. It was just, I couldn't, okay? Another one we have is Cassandra Clare's The Ragpicker King. Okay, when I read this Sword Catcher, I was like, okay, this is a good book, but like, I feel like it's amounting to something. It's climbing up to something. It's going to be something else. And the second book is like, they're gonna make it or break it. So I honestly went with almost no expectations. I was just hopes and dreams, and even then, yeah, because usually you get disappointed, but I should have trusted my dear friend Cassandra because she has never let me astray so far, and it was the best book. Like, it was perfection. I have no idea how she's gonna like top this out on the third book, but you could like, it was a really good book. It gave us everything we needed, everything we wanted, with every character, every story plot, everything. It was just perfection. It was perfect. And the gazebo, girl, the gazebo. Blood Over Brighthaven was also another banger. I read this in one sitting. I could not stop reading it on the plane. It was so good. The magical system, the way just the way they like input magic and what that means, and the whole like societal questioning and like the moral aspect of this, and how people are treated, how foreigners are treated, how like women are treated, like the oppression, the system, how even the men that are like, oh yeah, we're so good, they're actually... All of it was perfect. I loved it so much. It was so good. And lastly, but definitely not least, because this is one of my top books, like I love this book to pieces. Okay, it's The Dark Mirror, which is the last book of the Bone Season series from Samantha Shannon. I love this book so much. First of all, this series is my heart series. Okay, it's up there with Throne of Glass. Okay, it is dystopian with very particular magical system with amazing characters that I absolutely love and adore, and it was there for me in a moment in my life where I was not doing great, okay, and I just got hooked on these characters. And this book has two tropes that I absolutely detest. It does, and I was so scared going into it because I knew I wasn't gonna like it. It was perfect. Even these tropes that I absolutely hate, she managed to do it so well, so tasteful, and in a way that we did not lose our main character, and we did not lose who she is, the fighter that she is, the survivor that she is. I'm so happy about that, and it also broke my heart so bad. I sobbed while reading this, okay? Again, another vlog you guys can also check out, but I sobbed so bad, even though I knew things had to be better, right? Just sobbed, and I'm getting tears right now. I like this book so much. It's insane. I'm not one to cry. Like, I don't cry very easily. It has to really impact me, and I have to really be connected to the characters, because I can read the most gruesome things and I will not cry. But this one, I was just sobbing my eyes out. It's embarrassing, especially because it was online. I'm like, okay, cool. I guess I'm that person. I want to go over all of the like important mentions for this year, because I read a lot of really interesting series this year. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about them. I don't want to rave too much about them, but I want to go over a few of them. Okay, Jade City. I tried reading Jade City. I read the first book. It did not click with me, but I'm gonna be honest, it did not click with me because it's not what I expected it to be, and I wasn't ready for like that high of a fantasy level at that time. It was not what I was in the mood for, and I've been wanting to get back into it, but it was such a painful experience to read that I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that, but I might do it on audiobook. But I will say, ever since like the whole thing, I haven't stopped thinking about it because I like the concept of it so much. You know, I really do. So I definitely want to get back into the series soon. Another one is When the Moon Hatched. What wannabe Selena Sardothian are we talking? Like, even the names were similar. Gals and girls, like, come on. No, like, no, like, if I wanted to read Third of Glass, I would be Third of Glass. That is all I will say about that, okay? I also read Fourth Wing for the first time this year. Yes, I waited until this year to read it, and I really like it. But I don't like it as much as other people do. I think I won't say it's overrated, but I don't think it's, like, the end-all, be-all, and I don't think the last book was that dramatic as people like to make it. Also, another really honorable mention that is very, very important is The Aspect of Essence. That series, it's so good. Romancy-wise, it's so good. The first book isn't my favorite in the series. I think it's just a little bit of a setup, and there isn't a lot that happened, but I was sucked into the relationships between the characters. But as the story goes on, it just gets more and more and more, and I cannot wait for it to finish. Like, we've had 3 books right now, and I think it's gonna be 5, so I'm really excited for that. I'm loving it so much. I'm loving the characters and their relationships and how intricate and everything. It's honestly one of my top romances of late. Like, I really like it, and it was just an accidental find. It's so good. So if you haven't checked out The Aspect of Essence, please go. It's so good. It's such a good book. The Night and the Moth, I also read it. I liked it, but it was also like meh to me. I liked it, but it was very YA-ish. I thought it was going to be a bit more, and the world itself is very simplistic. The plot twist was very much easy to see from a mile away. It wasn't anything whoa. So I also read the Book of Azrael, like the whole series. I like it. I like Diana a lot, but Samkiel is just... I don't like Samkiel. I don't. I'm so sorry. I just don't. I love Diana, but I don't like him, and yeah. Ooh, Hunting Adeline and Haunting Adeline. I read it. And funny enough, I love the books. I do. Look, I'm not saying that there aren't parts where, like, they're weird. But I really like it. Like, the plot itself, the story itself, the character development, the whole psychological part of it, all of it, it's a lot better. Like, you have a lot of these smut heavy books that just don't hit it, right? Either the smut is good or the plot isn't, or you have really heavy plot and barely any decent smut. But this one is so good in, like, both of those aspects. Yes, people get really like, oh my god, there's that one scene. Girl, the book is so much more than that. And the second one is so deep. Check your trigger warnings, of course, always. I will always say that about these books, because even though I don't get triggered very easily, I can tell that it is something that will trigger, especially the second one is really bad. But it has so much depth to it. So I really liked it. I don't care that other people don't, but I do. I also read Bare Bones and Midnight Soil, and I initially gave it 4.5. No, I think I initially gave it 4.5, but then after sitting with it, I gave it 4 stars. I liked it, but I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. I liked Addie a lot more. And when I realized that this one didn't have the impact that Addie had, I was like, okay, I think it's 5. So it went down to 4 stars. But it was still a very good book in vampires-wise, and just literally the way that the author describes it is like toxic vampire lesbians, and that is exactly what the book is about. Forget any other descriptors, that is it, and it's dope. It's fucking dope, but that is basically it. Then we have Direbound. I also read that one. That one got me gassed. Okay, I don't even know if it's because it was so good or just because it was annoying living garbage. I mean, because I could see the red flags from a mile away, and it was driving me insane. I was like, oh my god, I wanted to yell at this girl, and so I got really excited about it. So another very nice honorable mention as well. If you want vampires, Immortal Dark. It's so good. It's not even spicy. It's slow burn as hell, okay? But I like Immortal Dark so much. I like the writing. I like the plot. I like the characters. It's just so juicy. I want it so bad. And yeah, I have honestly so many others that I can mention, but I just don't want to be here until forever, because that's what I told myself I wasn't going to do, was bore you guys with every single book I read this year. But yeah, those were the stats for me this year. I am pretty happy with a lot of the things I read this year, but also pretty sad that I only got 5 stars this year. You know what I mean? I wanted it to be a better year. For this next year, I'm actually challenging myself to do 26 book series in 2026. I did this back in 2024 and it was miserable, okay? But because I was a bit of an idiot and I didn't allow myself to DNF a series even if I wasn't liking it. And this year I am. I am allowing myself that because I deserve it. We have sci-fi, romance, fantasy, we have murder mystery. Like, we have a little bit of everything in that challenge. I'm going to be following that through this year. And just this challenge is like over 100 and something books this year. So I know I'm probably going to DNF something along the way, or if I don't, I don't. And I'm already tackling it, okay? I'm good. I'm a good girl. I'm already tackling it. But yeah, I'm really excited for all the books I'm going to be reading this year, all of the series I'm going to challenge myself this year, and I'm also looking forward to quite a few new releases this year that I'm so excited to get to. So I think it's going to be a really nice reading year. I do hope to get back on track with reading because I've been a little bit slumpy, not too much, but a little bit these past few months. But yeah, I'm really excited for this next year of reading, and I'm also planning on vlogging a lot of it. Okay, a lot of the series I want to have them in vlogs because they're iconic or one of a kind. I just want the record for it. I'm also planning on doing a lot more vlogish things of like my physical books, fairy books, things like that. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video of me just spewing facts at you. So I hope you enjoyed doing that with me, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your year and a great reading year, and you set your goals to something realistic, but also that you're able to accomplish them and succeed and read as much as your heart desires this year. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week for another video. Bye.